People hire you for two different reasons. All those out there listening, once again, this is like an inside peek. People hire you for two different reasons. When I say hire you as a speaker, as a coach, purchasing your program. They're buying into you for two reasons.
Talk about the person who can persist through the wall.
Some people hit a breaking point because God needs to break them before my man. God needs to break them before they elevate. What's going on, you guys? Today I'm gonna do something a little bit different. I want to give you guys an inside peek into a discovery session. So outside of compelling thoughts, outside of the podcast, I do coaching and consulting. I have two challenges, two programs throughout the year. I have the SOAR challenge at the top of the year. SOAR, start off anything right. It doesn't matter if you want to write a book. It doesn't matter if you want to start a ministry. It doesn't matter if you want to start a business. It doesn't matter if you want to go back to school. Maybe you just want to work on your health, personal development, whatever you want to start, whatever you want to complete, whatever you want to conquer, whatever you want to do. How you do it is critical, and how you start is monumental in how you finish. So the SOAR challenge is at the top of the year. And at the end of the year, we do the Mind Challenge, MYND. My year is not done. So depending on when you may be listening to this, we have those happening at the start of every year as well as at the ending of every year. But I have one person in particular here, hearing a little bit about his mission, hearing a little bit about what he wants to do. I love doing discovery sessions to just really hear how we can add value, how we could potentially work together. And I got a guy here who's a part of this challenge, and I know he's going to kill the game. So I got my man Ryan Armstrong here. You've seen him in a video that we've done recently, man. How you doing today?
Man, doing well. Thank you for having me in this time, and I'm excited to be back with you, man.
For sure. So we chop it up every now and again anyway, but just hearing a little bit about your mission, hearing a little about what you want to start, what you want to complete, you felt now is the time. So instead of doing this behind the scenes at a coffee shop or maybe at your office, I said, hey, let me give the people an inside peek of what that looks like. So I want to start it off by some of this I may already know, but hey, I really want to help you make your dream become a reality, as well as help you on your journey in living a compelling life. So take me through your process. Take me through your project, your idea, the title, all that good stuff.
Yeah, so the project is a ministry called Menside Out. It's a play on the words inside out, and it's specifically geared towards men. And my desire is to see men transformed from the inside out. And in order that they can then, live out the calling that they were designed to live, right?
For sure.
So, it's my heart and my desire to see that and to be a part of helping people do that.
For sure. So what I want this to look like, I'll ask you some coaching, consulting questions, etc.
Okay.
But the whole goal is to help build this out a little bit more for you. So you kind of touched on it a little bit. What does success look like for you? Meaning for a participant that is a part of your program, a part of the ministry, a part of the project, what does success look like? Hey guys, my name is JC Gale. I am a speaker, an entrepreneur, a consultant. I work with several different organizations in different industries, from nonprofits to for-profit to government agencies, colleges, schools, all across the country. But at the end of the day, at my core, I am a coach. I love coaching and helping people. And I want to help you reach those goals and get a little bit closer to making that dream become a reality. I have a challenge. This is something that we do at the end of the year. It's the My Year's Not Done Challenge. And it's literally designed 30 days of intentional focus to help you reach those goals. We have action plans. We have specialists that I bring on the call based on specific area. Maybe you say, hey, I want to be as healthy as I can be mentally, physically, relationally. Or you know what? There's some financial goals that you may have. Or you know what? It's something specific. Like maybe it's get that certificate, get that license, go back to school, write a book, whatever it may be. I want to help you get on the other side of your dream and maximize the rest of this year. Click the link below for more details, and I will see you guys in the challenge. Let's go.
Whew, wow. I think success is going to look like being able to really see men flourish,
Okay.
and men thrive, being able to live intentionally the mission that they feel designed for,
Okay.
and really giving them the tools necessary to change their mindsets and their perspective, and that begins internally. So,
For sure, for
yeah.
sure. Okay. So one of the first things I do in helping people build this out, build their dream, build their vision. And once again, context is everything. So I'm big on practical steps. So for example, I feel like part of my purpose and journey is helping other people discover their purpose or what they feel compelled to do. But outside of discovery is implementation. I think for a lot of people, they either discover it, they go, okay, I know what it is, and they get so excited, but then they go, I don't know what to do. Or the whole elephant analogy. They see this big vision, big dream, but then they go, they're kind of paralysis. They have paralysis in that moment where they go, how do I eat this elephant one piece at a time? So I'm big on implementation as well. How to tangibly put pieces together in building that. So anyways, so I wanted to see what success looked like. Awesome. Okay. One of the first questions I ask is why? Why is this relevant? Why is this important? So take me through why you believe this initiative is important in our world today.
Yeah, I think personally for me, I would have loved to be prepared to be a man holistically.
Okay.
I would say that there are elements that I was prepared for. Hard work, certain things such as that, not being afraid to step in and do certain things at certain points in times. But from a holistic standpoint, I think there are some things that are lacking, that you're trying to put pieces together.
For sure.
That you don't really understand, man. What is this thing really all about?
Yeah.
And I think knowing where my personal journey has been, I've talked to other guys and we're on similar pathways and trajectories, and it's like, man, if we're going to really be all that God has created us to be, then we have to definitely be changed and transformed from the inside out. And so that's really the why behind it,
That makes sense. So you said a lot of things in that and a lot of things in there, which it sounds amazing. So as you think through building this out, one thing I would share is continue to talk it out. So like you just did, even if it's just you at home in the mirror, talk it out. Because as you talk it out, you'll be and communicate it, record yourself. It doesn't have to be a video recording, but at least an audio, because you'll pick up on certain things that you say that you'll go like, you know what? I thought about it. I've heard it, but I didn't hear me articulate it this way. Or as you share it with other people, there'll be other things on the inside of you that comes out. So for example, as you talk about certain things, as you explaining the why, success looks like, hey, a well-prepared man in being successful in our world today. You shared your lack of preparation from a sense of those before you, preparing you for the world that you're in right now, and you're having to build in real time, and you just want to be able to help, or let me say it, not help, you want to be able to kind of minimize that moving forward for the next generation. You want to help them be more prepared. That's kind of the gist I got. So now as you think about building the program, it's what does preparation look like? What does preparation look like? And then with it being inside out, which is great, what does preparation look like on the inside? What does preparation look like mentally? What does preparation look like spiritually? All of that. So does that make sense? Am I making sense? Is it clicking?
You're making sense. I'm writing notes.
You're writing it down. So, but yeah, as you communicate it more, it becomes more fluid. Okay. And as it becomes more fluid, it becomes tangible for the listener to go, okay, I know exactly what he's trying to do, or I know exactly whatever. So that's part one or one phase, so to speak, as you're building things out. The other phase, it'll also help identify your ideal client, your ideal customer, ideal participant, whatever the case may be. So a lot of times we go, all right, men's side out is for men. All the men, come on.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
all right, well, what type of man? You may have a man that feels they're prepared. What does preparation look like? So once again, as you build out whatever, you can point out, hey, this is what preparation looks like. And as they hear the message, they go, do you feel, man, you weren't prepared mentally before you got married? Hey, do you feel like you weren't prepared as a father? Hey, were you, and this is what preparation looks like. You may have been, and some guys, they may feel, well, I was prepared. Well, were you prepared? You may have been prepared with A, B, but what about C and D? Ooh. So you get what I'm saying? As you're building it out and as you're talking it out and as you're listening to the audience and listening to what they're saying, because a lot of times, let me say it this way, the areas you may have not been prepared in, majority of people may have, or vice versa, the areas where you were, majority of people weren't, so to speak. So having your ideal client in mind, because we think men, or I want to start a women's ministries, all the women come on, or I want all the men come on. It's like, no. Within that realm, you can start chiseling the fat, so to speak, and narrowing it down. So what is one key area you feel you weren't prepared? Or as you were thinking about this, I know you said a few things, marriage and all the other. What was one area that you felt, man, I wish I was more prepared in this arena?
Whew. Yeah, man. I would say understanding the emotional side of manhood, and how powerful vulnerability is.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Because what I think happens in the vulnerability is that you allow yourself to be seen for who you really are,
For sure.
flaws and all, and you're able to accept the flaws.
For sure.
You understand what I'm saying? And so, and know that they are not wasted. Know that they are tools to help you in becoming even more of who you're designed to be.
I love that.
You understand? So
I love that. No, that hits home. Okay. So to all my young professionals out there, hey, did you ever tell yourself that this was the year that you were going to pursue those dreams? This was the time that you were really going to achieve those goals and you were going to give it all you got, but then life got in the way. And then you looked up and it was 100 days left, maybe 75 days left, 60 days left before the end of the year. And you just said, you know what? I'll wait till next year. I'll just wait to the top of the year. I'll wait till January. And it becomes a cycle over and over and over again. Hey, I want to help you break that cycle. I have a challenge, mind challenge. My year's not done. If you feel like, hey, I have a goal, I have an aspiration that I have to do this year, 2025 will literally be one of the best years of my life if I do this. Whether it may be write a book, whether it may be finish school, maybe it's to go back to school. Maybe you say, I want to be as healthy as I can be mentally, physically, maybe it's relationally, whatever it is, I want to help you maximize the rest of this year. Click the link below for more details, and I will see you guys in the challenge. Let's go. Man, that's so loaded right there. Like you can go in so many different directions. Yeah. So once again, in the coaching consultation bag, vulnerability looks different for different people. So I think what I'm getting at is don't be afraid to start small. So have a small group, a small test group to start it off with. But within that small test group, it may be 20 men, it may be 10, I don't know. But as you have a small test group, what I'm getting at is your vision or picture of vulnerability. You'll see as you build it out with more people. Oh man, that's only a glimpse of what other areas of vulnerability that are out there, that now as you equip yourself to become the expert in helping people. And I don't say that's a buzzword. That's advice that a lot of people share. They go, hey, people hire you for two different reasons. All those out there listening, once again, this is like an inside peek. People hire you for two different reasons. When I say hire you as a speaker, as a coach, purchasing your program. They're buying into you for two reasons. Either you're a celebrity, your fame, your awareness, like the world knows you, so to speak, and they just want to buy into that. They want to tap into that. They want to leverage that, so to speak. Either you're celebrity, you are a celebrity, or you are an expert. Those are the two reasons. When it comes down to it, Those are the two reasons why people will buy into you or pay you or whatever the case may be. So think about it. Even as something as simple as like a job interview, you give your resume. On your resume, what are you doing? You're displaying, hey, I'm an expert in being a project manager. Here's how I'm an expert, because my last 3 jobs, I've had 10 years of experience. So people hire you either because you're a celebrity or an expert. So what am I getting at? You may not be a real, people think expert and they go, oh man, I'm not an expert. I've only been doing this for whatever. I just have an idea. As you spend time doing it, as you dive in, what's Malcolm Gladwell's, was it 10,000 hours or something like that? As you dive into this, before launching Compel, I spent about 4 or 5 years groundwork, reading, studying, paying coaches to figure out whatever. And even with launching, I still didn't feel like an expert. But with doing it, kind of what I shared previously before, I may not be a 10, but I may be, you know what, on this journey, I'm a quote unquote 7 or 8. I'm further along than 80% of the population or 70% of the population because I put 10,000 hours in. So let me digress. The point I'm trying to make is what you have in mind, that's only a glimpse. As you do the small group and develop, they'll come to you with other things that go, man, when you say vulnerability, I know you may thought this. When I hear vulnerability, I think about, man, days where I'm suffering from depression and I don't have anybody to talk to. You may think, oh man, I don't suffer from depression. I had no idea. I was speaking from vulnerability of, some insecurities I may have. So I think that's one thing that I'm trying to share. But so outside of that's a whole other phase. Outside of having that small group, having that audience identified, communicating it more to yourself, so on and so forth, then I would continue to have a clear picture on what the payoff looks like. So what does a well-prepared man look like? You get what I'm saying? What does a well-prepared man look like? How is that well-prepared man impacting society? How is it impacting the world? Not just his world. How is it impacting the world around him, so to speak? So, and just the point I'm trying to make is, as you make the payoff clear, once again, you're able to check off a lot of boxes for the potential client or a participant or the person joining the program. So, because once again, for you, your big payoff may be, man, it's impacting my family. Like, I'm tired of arguing with my wife about certain things. I want to be a better man so my marriage can be better. That's a big payoff for you. But what about the single guy? What about the young single guy? What about the older single guy? What about the guy who just got divorced? What about the guy thinking of getting married? Those are all processes that you can go through. And it's not hard. It just takes time. But I think so many people, they spend time preparing on the wrong thing. Or it may be the right thing, but on the grand scheme of things, that was only 10%. So they prepared and focus all their energy on the content. Man, this is fire. The content, this is hot, da-da-da. And they're like, all right, cool. But that only hit 10% of the room. Now the other 90% of the room, they're disengaged because they had no preparation time on them. Am I making sense?
No, it makes sense. It makes sense. And I think it sounds like there's a start with the end in mind and work backwards.
Reverse engineer. Yeah, one of my coaches always says that, reverse engineer. Start with the end in mind and reverse engineer. So what does 10 look like? On a scale of 1 to 10, what does 10 look like? Okay, this 10 man looks like boom, 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 boom. Okay, if it's physically fit, we'll start with that. A physically fit, so physically they're a 10. They're what does that look like? They're confident. Their self-esteem is high, not cocky, but it's high in the sense of, man, like their self-worth is high. They view themselves valuable. And just reverse. Okay, so how do I get physically fit? Okay, the gym. Okay, what does that look like? And then just reverse engineer, and then do that for every area. Does that make sense?
No, that's helpful. That's helpful, and that helps a lot because it just it provides a lot more focus, on even just the areas that maybe I wasn't even processing fully. Right now, so it gives me some structure to build on.
Yeah, exactly. Denzel has a famous saying. He was giving a commencement speech. He said, "Don't confuse pride," and I'm jacking it up, so forgive me. Basically saying, don't mistake busyness and movement. As we said, don't mistake movement with progress. a lot of us were moving and we're busy and we're going and we're building and we're doing all of this stuff, but we're not progressing, so to speak. Our lives still look the same 3 years from now, 5 years from now.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, let's dive in.
Right.
You read my mind. I was going to say that. What questions do you have?
So, in that 4 to 6 year period where you are pursuing a vision that you have, right? Talk to me about how to stay motivated and in those moments where, you know, the vision has yet to be realized.
Okay. Oh man, that's such a loaded question, a good question. A few things come to mind. Number one, and so I'll share briefly how I landed on compel, because it's such a compelling word. Compel, a powerful word. I'll land on that and then kind of answer your question. Reverse engineer. I'm doing it in real time. Okay. So it was actually in the Bible. It's from the Bible. So I'll cut through all the whatever and get right to it. So there's a couple scriptures that I pulled from with that word compel into it. But one of the main ones was Paul. So Paul was in prison. He was writing and he said, man, I feel compelled to write this letter. I feel compelled to use my gift. One of his gifts was obviously communicating the not just the gospel, but preaching, so on and so forth. But because he was in prison, he found himself in prison a lot. He's like, man, I still got to use my gift. I got to get this message out. And the only medium he was preaching to the prisoners. He was preaching to the guards, all that stuff. We see scriptures in that. But he said, man, I still got to get this out. I still got to fulfill my purpose. The only medium to do this is writing. So he would still write. And I was in a point I was at a time in my life and at a point where I'm like, man, there were certain things I felt compelled to do. I just couldn't really put it in a word. There were certain things that I wanted to do, aspired to do, but the opportunities weren't there, or, you know, the stages wasn't there, or the opportunity, and as well as I wasn't ready, but I just still had a gift. I still had that zeal and I still had that desire to do certain things, but opportunities weren't there. So I'm like, all right. When I read him say that, it's like, man, I'm compelled to do this. The love of God, the love of Christ compels me. So on and so forth. So, and there was a couple other scriptures. So I just basically took that in a sense of, all right, what are some things that I'm compelled about? What are some things that I feel like, man, I got to see this through. I got to do it, whatever. And I was at a point in my life where I felt depressed. I felt like I had a purpose, but it wasn't clear. It wasn't clear. I didn't really know what that looked like. I was just at a low point in my life. And then as I started to seek that out, a sense of fulfillment came, a sense of revival. I know we use those words a lot in the church, but revival. I literally was seeing it in real time where it was like, man, my life became a little bit more clear because I identified my purpose and all that good stuff. And as I was kind of operating in that gift, now what I had envisioned in my mind, I couldn't necessarily do that. Like I envisioned all of this. I envisioned speaking. I envisioned doing all these different things, but opportunities weren't there yet, as well as I wasn't ready yet. So I said, okay, how can I do that? I started it with small groups. I did small groups with 8 people at different periods of the year, sometimes 10. The most I ever did was like 15, whatever. Just different groups of people and just going, man, all right, let's all do this together. I had the mindset of let's all dive in, let's read, let's work on personal development. That's when purpose development, I coined that phrase of like, okay, we're doing personal development, we're doing leadership development. Let's develop our purpose. Like, let's see what this looks like, all of that good stuff. With those small groups, I was able to help other people discover their purpose. Like the light bulb came on for other people, and I just saw blind spots that they didn't necessarily see. People who could communicate and share, and they had the gift of teaching, and they never really saw that and whatever. So I think I'm taking you through this process, and I'm going to go back to your question. As I'm going through this is why I say start with let the market decide what they want. So as I'm going through this and helping other people discover their purpose and helping other people live a compelling life, all that good stuff, and seeing the light bulb come alive, I was like, yo, I really like this. That's what I want to do. It was, so I just went gung ho in that. So that's a little bit of the backstory. Now, how do you stay motivated and how you stay inspired? Number one, I constantly go back to where the vision was first like made or clear. I go back to that breaking point, or I go back to the place that I felt like God spoke, or I go back to that place where it all began. because it's just something fresh. It's like, okay, cool. So it was in an apartment. I can't go back into that. It was in a townhome actually where we used to live, right in that on the dining table. I can't go back inside, but every now and again, I'll just drive back when I'm on that side of town. I'll drive back in that community. And I remember taking walks around and I'm just in that place and remembering what I kind of put myself back in that environment. So if I'm not in the same environment, I go back to that place mentally. I remember where, man, it was dull. I had no purpose. I was depressed. I had no vision. My wife, I was married at the time. My wife was looking like, what are we doing? And I don't know, sweet. I'm trying to figure. So I go back to where I was environment wise, but I also go back to where I was mentally. Also, and so those are just basic things. Also, hang around other dreamers. Hang around other dreamers, because if you hang around other compelled people and other dreamers that are going somewhere, it may not be your vision. Now, I say this in the sense of you got to be secure. Because you may feel like, man, they doing all of this and I'm here I'm still building. How do you got to be secure in who you are and what you feel God has called you to do. But at the same time, hang around other dreamers. As you hang around other eagles, so to speak, you're going to learn how to fly eventually.
Hello.
So, but yeah, those are tangible things. And reading, obviously, there's certain books that I'll read. So that would remind me of, okay, I'll take pieces of their story and go, this is where I'm at. Okay, cool. I can. And as I remember there was a year where I just felt like I was giving up. I felt like giving up, throwing in the towel. I'm about to get a regular job. I'm about to chill, whatever. And if it was crazy. Almost every story, they all spoke about as soon as I was going to give up, as soon as I was at the 1 yard line, we don't know the answer that we want is right around the corner. But they were like, literally, I was just about to give up. And then as soon as I was about to give up, I got a phone call. And I said, you know what? I'm going to try one more day. They literally I prayed. I was like, God, I'm going to get this one more day. They got a phone call that changed the game for everything. So that encouraged me.
So piggybacking on that, the person that you become after that moment, speak to what's on the other side of the push through.
Keep going, like elaborate. What you mean?
So you said there's a certain point
for sure
that you are at a breaking point.
For sure.
Right?
For sure.
Talk about the person who perseveres through the breaking point, right? What's on the other side of the breaking point? Because I think sometimes, like you're saying, we don't even know we're right there. Right? But because it's so heavy, the burnout is real, all of it, right? Chasing, and you want something so bad, and it's right there, but then you give up. Talk about the person who can persist through the wall.
Oh man, there's a few things. So I always say every person's struggle is different. Every person's journey is different. Some people hit a breaking point because God needs to break them before my man. God needs to break them before they elevate. So maybe God's trying to break a haughty spirit. Maybe God knows the level he wants to elevate you. So he's like, let me humble you first so that way you could remind yourself it wasn't you, it was me. So that's that person. But then the other person, they may be at a breaking point and they have low self-esteem. They have breaking points. The picture that comes to mind is the ceiling. So it's like think of a 50-story, 100-story, whatever. There's different levels. When you're at a breaking point, you're at that ceiling on that level. And in order for you to break through, so to speak, there's some things you got to tear down, whatever. So it may not be tearing down in humility. Maybe it's tearing down this mindset of low self-esteem, of low worth, whatever the case may be. So I always say it depends on the person. But the other picture I get with breaking points is the person that is lifting weights. The person that's lifting weights, right? The muscles, as you lift heavy weights, I have a trainer. The reason why I know this is because I have a trainer. I'm trying to get on his level.
I got you.
But he was breaking it down to me. He was like, basically I was lifting weights. And I remember working out with him for about 6 months or whatever. The weights that I wanted to lift, over time, I started to get there. I went from 40, 50, 60, dumbbells, 70. I'm like, okay, whatever. But the results still, they were getting there, but it's still not on the level of what I thought. And he just said, okay, what does your rest time look like? And I was like, what do you mean? He was like, I see you come in and you going in 5-6 days a week, but you're not allowing your body to rest and recover. So what I'm getting at, breaking points look different for different people. For some people, it may just be going too hard. And you may be in a season where God literally slows you down because you may be on a breaking point where you about to tear your physical body down and you need to rest. So breaking points are different for different people. I think what I'm trying to get at to answer your question is it takes a mature person to identify what that looks like for them. So for some people, it may be, I need to go harder because you're not going hard enough. Okay. For other individuals, it may be you going too hard. And your breaking point is learning how to rest and take Sabbath, whatever the case may be. Your breaking point may be, hey, you do have a good balance with rest, working hard, whatever, but the person you need to be on this level is certain mindsets you need to tear down. So I think what I'm getting at, that it takes a mature individual to understand what their breaking point looks like. When I say the word breaking point or phrase breaking point, it just means what's not working anymore. Like if I keep doing this, I keep banging my head against what they say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over. Like you're at a breaking point in the sense of like, I can't keep doing this. It got to change. Something got to change. Either it got to change or it got to change. Either it's going to work or it's so breaking point is identifying, look, something has to change, but what needs to change? That's where the maturity and the wisdom comes in for that individual.
No, that's helpful. That's helpful. I think that's good.
Yeah, because it just depends. It just depends. Yeah, so it's like it's a tough question to answer, but it just depends.
I even like the part that you're saying that breaking points look different for everyone, and what may be happening to that person in those moments may actually be positive breaks that you need to take in order to, be able to come back even stronger and pursue it with more vigor and hunger and passion, right? So, that's good. That's good. I thought about something when you were talking about purpose as well, because I heard a quote. I want to say Bill Hendricks wrote a book, "The Person Called You," and he says that people need a payday, but more than that, they need a payoff.
Talk about it.
And I think when you talk about purpose, I think people walking in their purpose is the payoff. So I'm excited. Even, being able to converse and have these, discussions, because it helps me to ultimately, pursue that purpose.
For sure.
And walk in that,
And then one last thing I'll share before, because once again, this was just supposed to be a sneak peek of what this looks like. But one thing I always share is build momentum. Build momentum. Now, once again, that looks different for every project or whatever. But this is why I'm big on like small groups or small sizes. Build momentum and what does that look like? Get small wins. So even if you work with, going back to the small group, even if you work with let's just say 5 guys. Out of those 5 guys, if they all see a revolution in their lives, if they all see a new level of preparation, if they all grab hold of your vision now, a lot of things happen. Momentum starts to build. You have testimonials that can validate this idea. Because a lot of times we have a great idea, but it's just a great idea. It's not until we apply it where we go, oh, okay, it was all right. But if it really hits home with other people, you can go, oh man, now you have testimonials, you have people who can speak on your behalf, and now you also have leaders. You have people who can help you build that vision together. You got a team. Let's say out of that 5, one goes, bro, you hit home. I want to help you build this out. And now you don't become a one-man show. So build on small wins, whether that's something as simple of making it official, getting your, if it's a business, get an LLC, whatever. If it's a ministry, make it a nonprofit, get your logo, celebrate those small wins and build along the way. So going back to what you said earlier, like, what does that person look like? How do you stay motivated from 4 years to now, whatever? They get small wins along the way, because if it's something that they just have an idea about and they don't do anything with it for 4 or 5 years, that's different. It can go away. it's a law of intentionality. If you don't start now, over time, that something he was in the third heaven right there, the neck jerk right there. But yeah, it's like if you don't start now, it won't whatever. So the 4 or 5 years they were building small, building that momentum, so to speak. And now you have that person with the overnight success. They look at it as overnight success, but it's like, yo, that person been building for the last 4 or 5 years. They've been putting in work. So that's where that's what I would do. But that's it. That was just supposed to be a little sneak peek of helping you guys on your journey. Hope you guys enjoyed. Go ahead and lock in with your boy if you haven't done so already. Join the tribe, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.